Hey, fellow mathers, welcome to the podcast where math is figure-outable. I'm Pam Harris, a former mimicker turned mather.
And I'm Kim Montague, a reasoner who now knows how to share her thinking with others. At Math is Figure-Outable, we are on a mission to improve math teaching.
Because we know that algorithms, while they are amazing historic achievements, are terrible teaching tools because mimicking step-by-step procedures actually traps students into using less sophisticated reasoning than the problems are intended to use and develop.
In this podcast, we help you teach mathing, building relationships with your students and grappling with mathematical relationships.
We invite you to join us to make math more figure-outable. I feel like that was boring, Kim. We should do a
Are we flat? We're flat. We needed more energy.
Wake up! Poke, poke, poke. All right, how are we starting today off?
Well, I have a review for us.
Nice.
This has been a little bit, but
thanks for reviews, everybody.
Yeah, I love it. This one was on Audible. I finally went to other sources.
Oh.
I don't
have
a lot of them, but this
Audible.
Jennifer, I think it's Caccini. Sorry if I butchered that. Says it's a must for math teachers. And she said, I love Pam's podcast, such rich discussions and great insight into helping your students grow as math thinkers.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah. Pam and Kim do a good job.
We try.
We like rich discussions, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
If you define rich as sometimes contentious. Spirited.
Yeah.
Spirited. Yeah.
You know what? We say that,
Rich,
and I don't know that we have that many on the podcast, but they happen.
Maybe come hang out with us at a conference, and you'll get. I don't know. Today we're going to get you to shoot a little straight. We're going to have this a little bit unscripted, unplanned.
Yeah. Okay.
Today's episode, I'm going to propose, Kim. We've done this in the past where you have rapid fire questions to me.
Yeah.
Today I have this idea. So first, I want to start with this true story.
Mm-hmm.
That we actually talk about in the K2 Developing Mathematical Reasoning. Oh, golly, I don't have the whole title. Hold on a second.
It's a long title.
Hang on, I'm coming.
You're walking away.
I just took it out of the box because it just came the other day. Developing Mathematical Reasoning, the strategies, models, and lessons to teach the big ideas in grades K2.
I like that title.
It's a good title.
It is a good title. It's
long.
helpful.
It's very long. Very long.
Very long.
So I haven't memorized it yet, but it's strategies, models.
We just call it the K2 book.
Yeah, that's exactly. Or sometimes DMR K2.
Yeah.
DMR, Developing Mathematical Reasoning. Anyway, so in that book, one of the stories that we told, true story, is that we were early days. We were working with teachers trying to get them to help kids develop mathematical reasoning, and had a second grade teacher, super well-meaning, was doing her best to implement, and had a set of parents very upset and very in her business. And this teacher was kind of emotional and was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. They're like mad. They're very, and so I kind of had some conversations about, like make sure you include the parent in your conversation, make sure you are grateful that they're interested in their kid. You don't try to separate the parent from the kid and say, don't worry, we'll take care of math here. You don't need to help them at home. Don't do any of that.
Yeah.
Like, invite them in, be grateful that they're there. But the math part of it, I wasn't quite sure what to think about what they were complaining about because I wasn't quite sure what to think about what their daughter was doing.
Yeah.
So I called you in. I said, hey, Kim, well, first I said, what do you think about this? And you said, well, I really would like to talk to her. Which I thought
it's always my answer.
I mean, it was really noteworthy, right? It was like, I got to know more about this kid. And I was like, well, I just told you about the kid. You're like, I got to know more about this kid. Like, know your content, know your kids.
Yeah.
And so you said, can I just interview her? And at that point, early days, I had no idea what that would look like, sound like, whatever. So I said, I don't know, let me see. So we kind of worked it out. The teacher's there, the kid's there, you're there. I'm kind of in the background. And you basically said, hey, before we get started, can you just help me with something? And I don't exactly remember what you did. Is this the one where you took the change out of your pocket? I don't remember.
I don't think so. I think this was earlier than that.
So whatever you did, you said something like, hey, before we get started, will you just help me with, I was thinking about something, and you threw out a problem. And the kid, this gal, just drew a number line and then started doing these she started jumping. So it was like 29, maybe the problem was like 29 plus, or 20, let's say 28 plus 6. And 28 plus 7, I'll do that. And it was 27 plus 7. There, that's better. 27 plus 8. It has to start at 27. It has to start at 27 for this to make sense. because she drew a number line, marked 27, and then started making the same size jumps without any lands. So just like jump, 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 know how big the jumps are. And I said, what are you doing? And she's like, I've decided to jump by 2.
Hmm.
So y'all, she started on 27. That's why I just changed the problem, because I realized she jumped by 2s, and it was a nonsensical jump. And I was like, jump by 2? And you said, why? And she said, well, because I'm going to jump. That's what we're supposed to do, is jump.
Mhm.
And so today I'm going to jump by 2s. And you said, well, hang on, make that first jump. And you put a 2 above the first jump. Where would you land? And she said, it doesn't matter. I'm going to jump by 2s. And I don't know if she was exactly that clear, but that
Sure.
was her feeling tone, was it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. And so she just kept making all these jumps. And then she went back and wrote, I jumped by 2 and where she landed. And you said, oh, interesting. You just landed on 29. That doesn't seem very friendly to me. Is there something friendly here? And you were like helping her think about either make a friendly jump or get to a friendly number. Anyway, it was really interesting in that moment, the moves that you decided to make. And so, I don't know, do you want to say anything more about that story
Well,
before I?
I mean, when you first raise it, I'm like, I can't remember that, but I am right in that room. There was like an empty classroom down the
Yep.
hall. Who has
Yep.
empty classrooms? This is that long ago, and I remember, and yeah, I remember having a conversation with her, and I was like,
You're at
oh, you,
that half round
hmm
table at the
hmm
beginning. Uh-huh. Yep.
and it was like, oh, you're trying to mimic this idea of jumping. You're doing a number line, and you're jumping some jumps, but there's no purpose behind them. You don't know why you're jumping. It's like the idea is to jump. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So today, I'm going to rapid fire some pedagogical situations at you, things that could happen. And I'm
Okay.
just, I'm going to time you. You can only have, where'd my phone go?
Oh, this
Okay.
is
Got
this
to
is
find my
like
timer.
your serious rapid
This
fire.
is rapid fire. Yeah. You
Oh,
can't go
good
over. So you got
heavens.
to like have your stuff together.
Well,
So I'm going to give you
I
a
don't know.
scenario. So you can do it. You can do it. I have faith in you. I'm going to give you a
Okay.
scenario, and you're going to do your best to give us, why can't I find the timer on okay, I found it. You what do I really want to do? Count down or time up? Do I want
I
to
don't
count
know.
down? I don't know.
Is it going to be like bam, bam, bam?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Great.
what it should be, right? Okay,
Do I get a
you get a
warning?
minute and a half.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no
Oh,
warnings.
wow. Talk
You have
fast.
a minute and a half.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a scenario, and then you
Mhm.
just give us your pedagogical response. Like, what would you do in the moment? Kind of like you did with this gal, I got to talk to her, and then,
Mhm.
what would be yeah. Got it?
Sure.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I have to
Okay.
remember now to ask the question and push the start. I can do it.
Mhm.
Okay, here's the first one. You notice, as a student's doing work, that the student always solves addition problems from left to right, meaning not like lining them up and from left to right, but meaning if they saw 8 plus 9, or
Mhm.
2
Mhm.
plus 9,
Mhm.
or 8 plus 7, they
Mhm.
would start with the first number and then add on the second number. They
Mhm.
never think about which number is bigger. Maybe, is that a good way to say that?
Mhm.
Okay, go.
Okay. This actually happened once, so I'm glad you gave me an easy to start. So first, I would wonder if they have an idea, like what is their general idea of adding? Do they think it means to start with the first number? Have they had an
Hmm.
exposure to the idea of the commutative property? In the scenario where this happened before, I was working with a student and they did this. He always started with the first number. And when he in his classroom was kind of exposed to the idea of starting with the second number when it was the larger add-in, he would hear it in the classroom, but never did it on his own. So I pulled him in the hallway and we started having some conversation. And what I discovered was that he did not trust the commutative property. He didn't buy that 8 plus 9 and 9 plus 8 was going to have the same result. And so I pulled out a number rack and we did some work where we modeled 8 plus 9, got the
Like 8
sum.
on the top, 9 on the bottom.
Uh-huh. And
Hmm.
then we modeled and actually flipped the number rack, flipped the rec and rec over to represent 9 plus 8.
Ah.
And so the idea was that he could solve addition problems. It was that he didn't trust that he could reverse the order and use the commutative property. And so he was doing exactly that, adding things like 2 plus 9, starting with a 2.
Okay,
And
it's
and
buzzing, and I have a terrible timer sound.
oh, I
You
can't
can't
hear
even
it.
hear
So
it, can
thank
you?
goodness. No, 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 no.
The time's up.
Okay.
I gotta fix my sound. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's fix. It's better. Can you hear that? No, that's dumb.
I can hear that
You can hear
barely.
that
Yeah.
one?
Uh-huh.
Barely though.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I'll turn my phone up. That's dumb. All these are dumb.
You're like my kids right now. What's
You can tell
happening?
how often that I have. Wait, classic. What's classic? Wait, what?
Oh,
There we
that no.
go.
Oh, awful.
Okay.
It's like my
Okay.
morning alarm.
See if we can. Oh wait, I don't even know if it's set that. Anyway, okay. We'll see. Moving on. Hey, when you say trust the community property, just to be clear, you don't mean that you've used the word community property and the kid never
Oh
learned the
no.
definition of it,
No.
and you literally mean that.
He didn't trust that it would provide the same sum. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
He
Okay,
he
cool.
probably heard it but haven't experienced it for himself.
Yeah, nice. All right, that was excellent. Yeah, let's move on to our next one.
Okay.
Let's say that you are facilitating problem strings in a classroom.
Okay.
And when you say, or everybody give me a thumbs up when you have an answer, that
Mm-hmm.
this particular student either never puts their thumb up or always gives you a signal, I want to pass today. I
Mm-hmm.
don't call on me.
Always.
I've got
Always.
always. I've got an answer, but I'm never and you keep waiting. You wait, you're looking, and every time it's like the kid doesn't even know the other signal for you can call on me. It's like the pass signal. Go.
Is this my class
Um
anymore? My class? Am I
uh
going in one time?
am I starting the timer
I
now? I
know,
don't
not
know.
when I have clarification questions.
uh it's your class.
It's my class. Okay.
Yeah.
So, who always passes. That is a kid I'm going to suggest that has some fear, that has some nervousness, that has some probably trauma in their past. And so I think this is relationship building conversation. This is me sitting down outside of the string and saying like, "Hey, I noticed that you pass. Can you tell me about that?" And then I think it's a conversation about why do they pass, and let's work together to find a space where their voice can be brought in, where they feel secure. Maybe it's the first problem. Maybe it's me circling around and noticing something that they're doing well and saying, just that.
Share just that.
Share just that. That's all I'm going to do. I promise you, you can trust me. It's just that. I'm not going to put you in a position where you have to say any more. Because sometimes that first hurdle, that first share, especially if you've passed for a really long time, that first opening into your voice being in the classroom is the scariest. So if you can find one or two small instances where they're willing, then it can potentially open a floodgate. And it might not be a floodgate, but their voice needs to be brought in. And so I think that's just a private conversation to learn more about them and why they are passing.
Nice. And it might not be a one-time
Right,
conversation.
right,
Yeah,
right.
nice.
Look at
Can you
that.
hear it?
I'm
You heard it?
awake. I'm
Okay.
awake now.
All right, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Next.
Yep.
Let's say that you have, okay, I can't read my own writing here. Hang on. Oh, yeah. You have students that participate in problem strings and they're using the strategies. You're
Mm-hmm.
super clear. They've got them down. They can even discuss them. You're not like, oh, I wonder if, no, they are owning a particular strategy. But you notice that when they're doing like a test prep item or maybe a homework, some kind of individual work, they
Mm-hmm.
revert to some memorized set of steps,
Mm-hmm.
procedures.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Again, I'm going to have a conversation. This feels to me like my gut response is that these students probably feel like we're going to do this fun, cool, mathy thing during problem strings. But when there's a piece of paper in front of them, then they're like, this is the right way to do it.
Hmm.
So I think the first conversation is, oh no, what we're doing in problem strings is math. that is so an awareness to what we're building here. I want you to be using on your paper, right? So as I'm circulating, if I see them reverting to something that they've done in the past, I might kneel down next to them and say, oh, I see this problem. This feels like a great opportunity to use the blank strategy. And I think it's okay to name a strategy that I might use in the beginning. I'm not demanding that they do it, but I'm bringing to mind strategies that we've built. I might point to an anchor chart that we've used and say, oh, there's two really good strategies here. Do either one of those strategies feel like something that you would want to use here? So we're bringing awareness to remind them of what we've done in strings and connecting it for them, like very intentionally connecting. I'm also might say aloud, we might put a test prep question up and I might model for them strategies that I would choose to use so that they're making a connection between the work that we're doing in strings and how it is applicable to this paper pencil. A minute
Nicely
and a half
done.
is so fast.
It is very fast. You did a great job.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I
thanks.
like it. I like it. I like it. So it's our job to help them realize they can
Yeah.
transfer
Yeah.
that. It is
I
real
think so.
math. It's yeah, nice.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Next, a student, you are doing work and a
Hmm.
student yells out answers and you're not allowing that because you're like, give me a thumbs up. But that
Hmm.
student's getting discouraged, frustrated because they have forever, probably before your class,
Hmm.
they've been allowed to yell out, and that's their what the MO, their modus operandi. That's
Hmm.
the way that they've just been used to education. Go.
Hmm. Wow. I think there's a couple of different reasons kids do that. So it might be an impulse thing. And so it could also be a like I get my self-esteem from being really good at math. And so I just want to show you that I know.
Hmm.
I think there's a couple things you can do. So for either one of those circumstances, I think having a notebook, a dry erase board, some way for them to record that I said that really, really fast. They could record, they can record an answer. They can have a private signal to let you know that they're ready to share. I also think it's
That gives
really,
them that instant feedback. It's like,
yeah.
oh, okay, I got my ping, I got my
Right,
acknowledgement.
right.
Okay,
And
okay.
and I'm making eye contact and I'm smiling and I'm winking and I'm like, "Yeah, good for you." Because there are kids who just want to be acknowledged and they've been told that speed matters for so long, and in the process of helping them understand that it's not about speed, I think you have to acknowledge that that's where they are. That that's what they've been told, that's what they've been told they're good at. And I don't think overnight you can say that doesn't matter, because then if they have felt like that mattered and that's what they've been acknowledged for, then you're ripping away part of what they have felt mattered. I have a kid who has some impulse. He's got some drive to just get things done. So giving that kid a dry erase board to get it out of his head so he doesn't lose it is super helpful. Hmm,
Sorry.
I'm sad.
Do you want to say more?
It's okay. You probably have more.
No, I think that was great. I think we all have students who, for
Yeah.
whatever reason, and I think recognizing which of those might be helpful.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah,
It's so important to understand why this particular situation is happening. And I think I've said for every one of these questions, I'm having a conversation with the student.
yeah. It's almost like you're suggesting we should be human with them.
Uh-huh. And get to know them.
Relationship.
Like
Yeah,
know your
know
kids.
content, know your kids. Yeah, know your kids. Seems like it's becoming an important theme. All
Uh-huh.
right, next, you are circulating during a problem string or a rich task or whatever they're working on. You're conferring with students.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry, it is a particular task. I should read down. They are flashcarding each other. The flashcards have hints on them, so we have some podcasts that talk about hint cards.
Hmm.
We'll put that reference in the show notes, where they have a fact, but it has a hint for them to think about, so that they're traveling the path of using that hint to
Hmm.
find that multiplication fact or that addition fact. And so the kids are now flashcarding each other with those hint cards.
Hmm.
And you notice that a student is getting bogged down with one of those cards. What
Yeah.
would you do? Go.
Um, Bogged down. So I would wonder why they chose the particular hint that they chose.
Mm,
Sometimes when we create hint cards, students have a particular strategy in their mind because maybe it's a fresher strategy. And in that moment when they write the hints, they're like, "Oh, this makes sense for this problem." But then as they walk further away from having created those hint cards, it's not quite as cemented. That particular strategy might not be as cemented anymore. So maybe at the
mm,
time it was a great strategy, but it hasn't been, they're not fluent with it. They haven't done some work with it. So I would want to know why. And then I would want to know, what else do they know about that problem? It is perfectly fine for students to have created a hint and then change their mind. It's perfectly fine. In fact, I think it's desirable that we have lots of different ways to attack a problem. So I think, it's a conversation. Again, sitting down and saying, "Tell me why you chose this one." "Oh, you don't remember? Cool. Well, we can change a different one. What are you thinking about right now?" Or it might be the same strategy, but they need a little bit more language around the hint.
maybe
So
they've written enough on the card.
right, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, in the idea that the point is to practice these hints, I think I have added more than one card with the same problem on it so that it comes up more often. So there's a sneaky thing I don't think we've said
Ah.
before, but sometimes I'll add some problems that are
Did you hear the buzzer
repeats.
just hit?
Oh no, that's
No?
rude.
Oh,
The
weird. Okay.
okay,
I don't know what's wrong
all
with my
right.
phone. The buzzer just hit, but
Hints can
I
change.
think that might be the first time I've ever heard you say that you might put in a double of a
Mm.
card. Would you have the same hint on that card?
I think it depends if, yeah, I mean, some kids, yes, and some kids, if I yeah, depends. I've done both. But I haven't
Okay,
done it with a ton of kids. I think just some where I notice that they keep getting stuck on a couple. I mean, there's some facts that are funky. So,
sure.
yeah.
Just gives them more a chance to travel that mental path of
Mhm.
figuring
Mhm.
out that hint more often. Nice. All right,
Yeah.
last one. Deep
Okay,
breath. Here
good.
we go.
Uh-huh.
You have two students that have IEPs. They have some accommodations given to them for whatever reason. They have some sort of yeah, they have accommodations.
Mhm.
And for both of these students, they get more time on assignments. So that's a
Okay.
common thing, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
Uh, you feel that it might be that one of them never finishes because he'll get started, but he doesn't finish because there's no deadline. Because he has this extra time, it doesn't actually encourage him to get going and like do it. He doesn't there's no sense of urgency because of that extra
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
The other one you feel like needs the extra time but struggles to get going.
Mhm.
Go.
So the one that struggles to get started,
Mhm.
those students, I think, are the ones that you help them create a plan. What's the step 1? What's the step 2? Or like, what are you going to attack first? I have a kid who, once he knows exactly what to do, then he's off. He's on his own. But making a list or knowing what the plan of attack is a bit of a challenge. I have a different kid
Hey, can I
who,
can I pause you on that? I'm
yeah,
gonna pause the timer.
yeah,
Am I right that you don't mean a series of steps to solve the problem? You
correct.
mean
Oh, thank you. It
yeah,
means like, first I need to complete this portion of the assignment. Then I need, like, sometimes in classes, especially if you have a longer class period, a teacher might say, "These are the things that you need to accomplish today in class." And so it can feel overwhelming. And they might say, "Okay, there's a lot for you to do, so we're going to give you more time." So I have two drastically different kids. One of them, if he can organize what needs to be done in his mind and he knows what he needs to accomplish, like a checklist, then he's off and running. You don't even have to have any more conversation. Other kid can organize what needs to be done, but needs frequent check-ins because he has no sense of urgency. He's like, "Oh, I've got all the time in the world." So what I found was that additional time actually was a negative thing for him. What he needs is frequent check-ins to say, "What have you accomplished? What have you gotten done? Okay, I'm gonna come back in 10 minutes. Let's try to get this much done." So we've talked about this modification or this accommodation of additional time, and this is so particular to actually what is holding the kid back.
what does the kid need? And I feel like
Yeah.
do the kids that you just talked about, did they come with that instruction manual that said or did you have to actually like
I
get
mean,
to know the
trial
kid
trial
and
and error,
trial and
right?
error
Trial
and
and error, and like why you have additional time and why, it's still like
what do
you're
you do
still.
with it?
Mhm, mhm.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
observation. I mean, I think in all of these situations, I'm glad that you have a bunch of kid situations. So much of it is about observing and conversations with the students, and they don't always have the words to describe what's going on. But if you are really carefully observing and paying attention to the hiccups along the way and conferring with teammates or parents, I think more often than not, you can figure out what is going to make a positive impact for the students. And, I certainly don't get it right all the time. But I think part of the great thing is because I have developed an understanding of the content that I teach, that I'm freed up a bit to really pay attention to the students that I'm working with and spend my mental energy like understanding what they need.
Nice. Which is maybe this whole episode was kind of focused on know your content, know your kids, the know your kids part of that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
ways that you can actually use that, implement that. How does it actually impact when we say know your content, know your kids? Here were some super ways that knowing your kids can impact the teaching that you're
Yeah.
doing. Thanks, Kim. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I was a mess with the timer on that last one, so I just let it go. All right, thanks. That was awesome. Hey, listeners, we are toying with the possibility of a video component to the podcast.
Good
So
heavens.
if you're an audio podcast listener, don't worry. We would keep the audio part of it. But what would you think if Kim just said, "Oh heavens," and if
You
you could
want
see
to
her
watch me look out my window for 25 minutes?
when Kim's thinking, like she looks off to the, well, I guess it's your left, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I do. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll learn, right? So we'll always keep the audio, but we are wondering what would happen. Would you be interested in a video component? So let us know, because if no one says yes, we'll probably keep it just audio.
Yeah.
But if we have an influx of a lot of people saying, no, video would be awesome. I will say, if we do video, the chances are high that we would actually show you what we're thinking more.
Yeah.
Which we have definitely heard people say, oh, it's really hard to see what you guys are talking about when you're describing
Picture it,
everything. Yeah. So anyway, let us know. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in and teaching more and more real math. To find out more about the Math is Figureoutable movement, visit mathisfigureoutable.com. Thanks for spreading the word that math is figureoutable.